guys, welcome back to Lawtorials. My name is Elelion, head bar exam coach at Lawtorials, and today I just want to share with you how I passed the bar exam. So I passed last year. I found out last year. I just didn't really announce it anywhere because I didn't really have anywhere to announce it. But I learned a lot on the way to passing, which is why I'm making this video. And actually, I didn't pass on the first time. It wasn't like on my first time taking the bar exam. Neither was it my second. Okay. Or my third. Funny enough, it wasn't even my fourth try. It was my fifth. It was my fifth time taking the exam that I passed. Okay. So I mean, technically I did pass in other states. Second, third and fourth times I also passed in other states, but I was taking the New York bar exam. So I kind of went to them and I was like, hey guys, hey guys. I literally wrote to like the relevant states and I was like, hey, so I did the New York bar exam and I got a passing score in your state. Like, could you swear us in? Could you like bar us in? Because I was reading about everybody who passed in these states, like just transferring their scores and just getting barred there. And I was like, oh, okay, let me try. And so I wrote to them and they were like, no, no, no. They all said no. They said no. They literally, every single one of them said no. So obviously I had no choice but to keep going to make sure I got a passing score in New York. But I digress. I always wanted to say that. So just to bring it back to how I passed the bar exam, I'm just going to share 10 tips with you as to how I passed, especially because bar exam season is coming up, and obviously through my many times I learned a lot along the way. So the very first thing that I did to pass the bar exam was I made a plan and I stuck to it. I stuck to it. Like, the thing is, we all know, well, for me, if I don't write something down, I'm probably not going to do it. And I'm the kind of person who gets joy in, who gets joy in like writing something down, ticking it off. Like, it just gives me a little buzz. So I made a very detailed plan. I made it like 2 to 3 weeks before I actually started studying. And I've made a whole like completely different series on just preparing your schedule or schedule. We say schedule, Americans say schedule. And like how to like make it in a way that it works for you, because I literally knew what I was doing at every hour of the day. Every hour of every day I knew what I was doing. I knew when I was waking up. I knew like when I was working out, if I was working out. I knew like when I was watching Netflix. Obviously I knew like when I was like prepping for the bar exam and how long I was spending on each thing. Like, it was so detailed and it worked for me because I always knew what I was doing, and it's just like following like bam bam bam. And then I guess it takes me to the next point, which is also really important, is number two is I took rest days. I had days off. And I know a lot of like bar prep gurus would be like, oh, shock horror, she took days off during her bar prep. But a lot of schedules that I've seen literally have like 2 hours for a day, like for time off. So you prep Monday to Sunday and you have 2 hours off and that's it. Like on Sunday, like 8 to 10 p.m. or something like that. It's ridiculous. But I was not that person, and I will be open and say, what's that thing? Wear my heart on my sleeve or whatever. I don't know if that's the right scenario. I don't know if that's the right scenario, but I literally had 2 days off, sometimes one, depending. But it was so beneficial to me because for two reasons. First of all, sometimes I would be like, wow, I just feel so rested, like well rested. Let me get back into it. I'll get back into it the next day on the Monday, feeling rejuvenated, ready to go. Or sometimes, like, your brain still like plays tricks on you, and I would literally be like, oh my gosh, I had a day off, let me get back to it. So it would literally, either way, I would be like, my butt would be kicked straight back into gear and I was like focused again. So it really worked well for me. And then it's like, when you go to the gym, you have like arm days, leg days, hair day, eye day. Sorry, I just had a glitch there. You have like, all the different days, and then you have rest day so that your muscles can be recuperated and get back to it. So that's not my area of expertise, but it works the same way for the bar exam. Doing it every day, and I had my scheduled day off as well as my like you know, like you have those like blech days, like unplanned days off. There were some days that I literally woke up and I was like, I'm not doing this. I am not doing this. I'm not opening a single book today. I'm not reading anything. I don't want anything to do with law or the profession. I don't want to know. Okay. And I honestly, I had those days and I allowed myself to just, I didn't do it on those days. But obviously the next day it would kick me back in. But my schedule allowed me to like jump back in and be on track. So it was definitely, it's like you have to be realistic, and that's what it is sometimes. You have to allow yourself to feel like that so that you can get back into it when you need to get back into it. So that was that with days off. And then the third thing is I was task oriented, not time oriented or orientated. I never know which is which, but that was the third thing. So instead of me being like, oh my gosh, I need to spend 12 hours a day on bar prep, I would say I need to do XYZ. And I did a lot of, so essay wise, I did over 320 essays. I did over 2,200 MC, like multiple choice questions, and I did about 50 MPTs. And I broke that, like, it was very manageable, it was very doable. I literally loved my schedule. I'm not gonna lie to you. I really enjoyed it because I factored in everything, including social days and birthdays and all of that good stuff. So when it came to tasks, if I had like, say, 10 things to do on my list and it's supposed to take me ideally about 8 hours and it might take me 7 one day, then it takes me 7. If it takes me a bit longer, it takes me a bit longer. But I'm the kind of person who's like driven by challenge. So some days I would want to just finish earlier than the day before, or see if I can just, I'm like, yeah, like just to end like what I'm doing, it would help me stay motivated, stay on track throughout the day. So, but then also it allowed me to tick off a whole bunch. So instead of spending hours just being busy, like literally being busy, but not really doing anything, because you know, you can spend 10 hours of bar prep literally like reading through the same outline and you'd be like, okay, well, I read the whole evidence law outline today, so productive. But actually, what results did you produce? Like, what did you practice an essay? Did you just flip through the book? Like, do you see what I mean? So it's better, in my opinion, to have like actual measurable tasks to say, this is what I'm doing, and then tick them off when you've done them. So tasks over time. So if it takes you shorter, it takes you shorter. If it takes you longer, it takes you longer. So that was the third thing, which I think worked in my favor because look how many I did. So there's that. Okay, so number 4, I have it written down. Oh, actually I switched them around. But anyway, number 4 is I eliminated distractions, like all distractions, like literally eradicated any form of distraction that during while I was studying. So I had studied in a very plain area. Previously, I studied in a library. It was, oh my gosh, that library was more of a distraction for me. I had to be in a place, I did soundproofing. I was just making sure I was not distracted. I even had one of those apps. Those apps are a little bit extreme. So Do Not Disturb, if you have an iPhone, is a great alternative where it just takes off everything. But literally sometimes it'll be hard, like, where's all my stuff? Like, how do I get it back? But I made sure I did not have distractions around me. No phone calls, no, like, I wasn't having it because I knew I had like time to do what I wanted to do maybe later in the day or whatnot, you know. So eliminating and eradicating distractions is something that you must do. And that's what I did to pass. Okay. The next one is to study smart, not hard. And I know that's a bit of a cliche thing. Like everyone says, study smart, not hard. But what does it actually mean, right? So for me, it meant being very strategic about my study. Everything I was doing was for a reason. Everything I was doing was strategic. And so I also started with like the harder subjects for me first. So that's why I feel like, I always say this, but bar prep is not one size fits all. Some people might love constitutional law, not me. Not that I don't love it, but that was one of my harder subjects to kind of, you know, get my head around, because in the UK we don't have a written constitution. Things are also very different, especially when you're coming from foreign legal education. So yeah, doing things like the harder things first, getting them out of the way and getting more like kind of face time with them was one thing that was strategic. And then also focusing on my weaknesses instead of my strengths. And like literally, you could be like, yes, I'm so good at criminal law, I'm going to do criminal all the day, all the time. But then neglect the ones that you're struggling with because it's uncomfortable. I get it. But I was like, nope, studying smart meant tackling them things head on even if it made me uncomfortable. But in the end, you become comfortable with them. Then you can move on to the next hardest thing. So that's what I mean by studying strategically and studying smart, not hard. Because, I mean, you still kind of study hard, like it's inevitable. And so number 6 is practice. I literally practiced so much. You've already heard how many essays, multiple choice, and practical tests that I did. And some people might say it's too much. I know a lot of people have passed with less, but I never look back and say, oh my gosh, I did way too many practice questions, or I did way too many practice exams, or I practiced too much. I literally don't regret a single bit of it. Because when it got to like test day, the reason why I find it so beneficial to get into that like habit of practicing the actual test in like testing times, like, you know, you've got 30 minutes to write a constitutional law essay or a corporations essay. You need to practice doing it in 30 minutes, see how you can do it. Do I need to learn to type faster? Which I did. I actually had to spend 20 minutes a day improving my typing so that I could type faster, because it's not that I didn't know the law. This is something that I realized later. I knew the law, like I literally know the law, okay? Did it so many damn times. But then I just wasn't typing fast enough. I cut my nails like completely short. And I literally increased my typing from like 39 words per minute, something like that, to like 70, 80. Sometimes on some days when I knew the answer, like civil procedure, it was 90 words per minute. So that practice taught me that I had the stuff in my head, but I just didn't have enough time to get it out. And I feel like that was my downfall all along, because I'm just saying. But yeah, that's what I did the last time. And that practice made me so familiar with like the law, like the questions, the fact patterns, because they kind of recycled the same stories. And I'm like, hold on, like in the exam, you might see something and be like, oh my gosh, that was Corella from question, you know, from way back when. Like, it helps you get familiar with the things that they're testing and how they're testing it, so you don't get tripped up when you see questions that you're not familiar with. So practice is key. And this isn't all in no particular order, but I do wish I almost put that at number 1, because that was definitely very beneficial. Okay, so the next one is I did not aim for perfection, and they kind of go hand in hand. And what I mean by that is, yes, I was practicing, but I didn't wait until... I should say I did not wait for perfection. I did not wait until I knew the law perfectly until I started practicing. Because as they say, and as I've come to learn, perfection... Oh, sorry, I really wanted to say that like really smoothly. It was such a cool line. What was it? Oh yeah. Perfection is procrastination in disguise. Perfection is procrastination in disguise. Meaning, okay, I'll break it down for you. Meaning that if you're saying, no, I'm waiting to know the law perfectly before I start practicing, that's actually procrastination. Because when will you ever know the law perfectly? And I'm talking all 15 subjects with all their subtopics and topics and nuances and rules of law. There's over 500 rules of law that get tested on this exam. Okay? And you're never going to know all of them perfectly. And I'm just going to say it because, yeah, you're not. And even if you do, you're not using your time wisely and studying smartly, like I said in point number 5. Okay? Anyway, this is supposed to be about what I did. So, yes, just to reel it in, having that, it kept me grounded, knowing that, listen, I just need to get those questions done. The more I do it, the more I'm getting closer to perfection, even if I'm not doing it. And the other saying is perfection over progress, or progress over perfection. Or the point is, don't get so bogged down on having everything perfect before you start practicing. Start practicing early. That's what I did. It makes such a big difference. Okay, so moving on to the next one, which is number 8. That was brain training. And this is a bit of an unconventional one, because a lot of people think it's like kind of a waste of time, but training your brain, and I read Limitless by Jim Quick before I started studying, but training your brain, which is the one thing that's going to be in the exam with you, it's literally the only thing you're allowed to take in the exam, because it's a funny joke because they're so strict on what you can take. Like, you can't take watches and water with... Anyway, that was supposed to be funny. But anyway, your brain is literally the one thing that you can take with you to the exam. So why not train it? You know, why not help you almost? So I was only doing like 5 minutes a day. And I did a lot from Limitless, like just things that were helping, like brain foods, like it made a big difference. Like I can definitely say my brain feels a lot stronger. Like sometimes I feel the weight on my head, and it's definitely okay. Let me just keep going. So yeah, brain training. Out of like 24 hours, 5 minutes a day is nothing, and it definitely makes a difference. What it did for me. Okay, so the next one is number 9. Is I started memorizing early. Like I didn't wait until it was closer. I started from like literally as soon as I kind of understood everything, I went straight into memorizing from like the early stages instead of leaving it to the end where you have to now start looking for like techniques that you're like rushing and cramming and all that stuff. I started early, so I would recommend you do that as well. And I will make a whole another video on how I memorized and how I associated the law with different things. And last but not least is number 10. I had tunnel vision. Like I literally focused so much on the end goal instead of like the pain that I was going through now. I was looking at the pleasure I would get at the end, and that's what kept me through. I had so many things. I'm talking literally manifestation, affirmations, meditation, prayer, fasting, all of it. Like I was doing the lot to, just keep me in check, keep me grounded, keep me focused, and keep my eyes on the prize, eyes on the prize, and the aim on the game. Or is it the game on the aim? I was just I was keeping my eye on like the end goal, especially like things where like I'm thinking, bro, I don't want to tell my parents or family again that hey guys, I'm back, didn't do it. Like I just had so many things that motivated me. And even if you just want to, if you need to like envision like the money, the mullah, the shmoney that you're gonna be getting once you're barred and practicing as an attorney in your own firm, if you need to do that, do that. Because having that vision and like seeing it and like seeing the life that you want to live, and the lives that you can change with the the skills that you have, having that really helps you to stay focused on them days when you feel like, blah, I'm not doing it, I'm not touching it. It definitely helped me because I had a few of those days, but that was able to like bring me right back into check, keep me focused and keep me grounded. So okay, so that is officially it. My top 10 things that I did to pass the bar exam. Obviously, there's a whole lot more. There's an array of things that I did, but this is just like a quick-ish video to give you that breakdown as the new bar prep season is approaching. And obviously, with everything that I've learned, I have been teaching others to do the same thing. So if you would like to be one of the 100 people that I help pass the bar exam this year and join my one-to-one coaching program, there's a link in the description box. But that's all for now. That's all for today. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Lotorio.